How y'all doing? Leave us a question if you have anything to ask. Now today we're going to cover 3 different areas. We're going to discuss pain points in the culture, in Sicilian culture. And we're going to talk about how you can handle these issues, right, 𝗓𝗄?
Right.
And then we're going to have a Q&A session at the end. So get ready for that. But I don't know about you. 𝗓𝗄 was born and raised in Sicily,
yes.
and I'm a dual citizen. I'm an Italian citizen as well as an American citizen, but I feel inadequate so many times. Are you a little nervous about not knowing what to expect when you go to Italy? I still do. I still get nervous. Mm-hmm. Do you dread the possibility of making mistakes when you're in a social setting? If you're anything like me, you do. Well, today in this video, in this live stream, we are going to cover how to overcome those difficult situations and little tricks and things that we do to help get through everything. Now, at this time, I'm going to cover some topics, things that have affected us, mainly me, but 𝗓𝗄 is going to chime in with some ideas as well. So this is coming from the perspective of being born and raised in the United States, living in Sicily, southern Italy. So the first thing that I noticed being from Texas, well, not from Texas, but having lived here for many years.
Right.
When the plane touches down, wow, the topography, I mean, the landscape, everything is beautiful and so different. Of course, that's the first thing that hits you, right, is how beautiful Italy is. But man alive, the driving and just how everything is so narrow. In Texas, everything's so wide. As soon as we got back to the United States, last time we came back, that's the first thing I noticed was how wide the streets were and how big the Texas sky was. Each place in the world has its own beauty, right? But in Sicily, driving down those narrow roads, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. This is a typical alleyway road in small towns. Mm-hmm. I'm not talking about highways and big thoroughfares around the cities, but this is a typical type of a road we would be going down in Sicily. And it is really challenging, let me tell you. We bought a car that has the mirrors that fold in because I tell you, you need it if you don't want your car scraped.
Yes, we definitely need it. A lot of majority of the car needed that kind of mirror.
Yes, and I think most of them have them.
Yes.
Not all, but most. And so this is the car we have. And then I'll tell you, everybody makes their own rules in Sicily. So you just have to, after you're shocked a little bit about how everybody makes their own lane and you've got cars and bicycles and everybody in the same area fighting for their own place while you drive, I have anxiety.
And that's exactly the road I drove almost every Sunday, go from my town to Palermo.
Yes. Well, as a passenger, because I'm not behind the wheel and I'm not in control of the car, I have more anxiety when I'm having to trust somebody else behind the wheel. But I will tell you, just stop and breathe and just embrace the difference. It can be pretty exciting. It really can. And it's awesome to make progress like that. Okay.
Is.
Yep. And so that's something you can do is just breathe, embrace, and go with it because there's no other way to get around it. You have to get around. Now, my brother-in-law has a motorcycle. He gets around and he even had an accident and had a fall because the roads are quite slick. They are really slick. Those old pavements, they're worn down, centuries old, even millennia old. But you have to.
Especially when it rains.
Especially when it rains, absolutely. So the landscape and the driving, that's the first challenge for me culturally. But the tip from me is just to breathe and embrace it. And I did get better. I really did get better. And so that's the advice I would give. And then the second thing, 𝗓𝗄, is I feel like an outsider. Whenever I go to 𝗘𝗷𝗔, even though I'm a dual citizen, I wasn't born and raised there like you were. I wasn't, I don't have friends that I went to school with. Remember when you went to the store and that man from 50 years ago recognized you from grade school?
That's
that's history, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's awesome. But I don't have that. So even though I'm dual citizen, even though I'm from the United States, but I'm an Italian citizen and I speak the dialect. I speak the language. Even though I do, I still feel a little out of my element. And I think, it's pretty normal when I go to a fruit market or go out and about to a store to try to pick up something. I ask, do you mind if I speak the dialect? Now, I'm studying Italian. I'm trying to work on my proper Italian learning, and I have a video on that if y'all are interested in that. But it can be pretty nerve-wracking to go to a fruit market or to a store. Now, I'm confident. As I go, I get more confident. But now we're headed back next month, and I'll tell you, I do get nervous because I don't want to stumble over my words. I don't want to make a mistake. But the answer to that is people will accept you if you just reach out, talk to them, ask for help, and just connect and communicate, right?
Definitely for somebody from our side coming in Sicily, it's ultra shock, and it's going to take some time.
Yes.
But be patient. People are warm, loving, and care, and help anybody.
They do.
They do.
They are very warm. That's very true.
Yes.
And anytime I ask for help, or if I stumble over my words or what to ask for at the fruit market or the store, they'll help me. They're always very kind. But I want to improve, and I tell you, a way to improve that feeling of inadequacy is to just connect with somebody and actually help somebody. I have on occasion helped somebody with their bags, an older lady in the store or getting in her car. I'll go over and say, hey, do you need a hand? And that's always a great way to connect. It's a confidence booster. You feel good about helping someone. And then it just helps boost morale for everybody involved, because you make a friend, you make a contact, and then giving back to society, giving back to the locals, talking to the locals, not being shy is a way to do that. So yes, you might feel like an outsider at the beginning, but start giving and helping others is a way to overcome that. And I felt more accepted and like I fit in. I was like I fit in after I started, talking to the older people, especially older people, because they have more time. The retired folks have lots of time and they love to chit chat. So that's a great way to fit in. Do you have anything else to say about that part?
Definitely just need lots of patience, but they will come around and then get into the culture, the way of life, and anybody can join.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, the next culture shock that we want to talk about, and that's language. That's back about language, speaking the language. But fatigue. I got so tired. Of trying to translate in my brain. Now, I do think sometimes some words and some phrases, but not everything. I speak fluent Sicilian, not Italian. I understand most of Italian, but I speak fluent Sicilian. So my brain, and of course this is the history of the language, but my brain, I got so tired, but there's no excuse. And that's why I'm studying Italian, to be able to properly address people and properly ask for things in the store. I want to try to minimize the times where I have to say, do you mind if I speak the Sicilian dialect? I don't speak Italian very well. And I know how to say that in Italian, and then I revert immediately to the dialect. But there's no excuse. There really isn't. If I want good results and to feel more a part of the culture and to feel like I fit in and to be able to converse and give back and help and be part of the community, I need to do a little bit of due diligence. There is no excuse. There's so many apps, and I did a video on it about how to learn Italian. That was one of my biggest regrets, not learning proper Italian instead of Sicilian dialect. I love Sicilian dialect. It's beautiful, but I wish I had learned Italian first and then the dialect with the family. But never too late, right?
Right. That's right.
Okay, so You can also put sticky notes on things around the house to help you build up your vocabulary every day. You can definitely do it. Where there's a will, there's a way. And that's definitely the truth. Something else that I really had a hard time with, and I'm not going to dwell on it because it's kind of upsetting and it's a negative for sure, but the culture shock that really upsets me the most is the rubbish and trash problem in Sicily. And it's a government problem. There are many reasons for it, and I did a whole section in a different video when we talked about the 7 harsh truths about living in Sicily or living in Italy. But they are making headway, and they do have surveillance cameras out, and people are being fined, and things are improving. They're cleaning up in some areas, and some areas are very clean. Some areas are terrible. And as much as it upsets me, I'm accepting that that's the case right now.
Well, definitely they're trying to improve and get a camera all over the places. And,
right.
And they got some result already.
Yes, and they're giving fines out. And when you hit somebody in the pocketbook, in their pocket, that makes results. So they're fining people when they can catch them. And there's a lot of different reasons, but it's upsetting. So the way you can combat that is to just actually take a bag with you to the beach. If you want to sit in lawn chairs, take a beach chair to a place if it's rocky or even if it's a sandy beach and you want to sit, or towel, take a bag with you. And if there's anything around in your area, just pick it up. Just say, oh man, this is a shame. Pick it up and move on.
But it's not everywhere. It's some of the section.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, 𝗙𝗷𝗵𝗲𝗍, the place we love to go, we went down to a little cove, remember?
Right.
And in the rocks and everything there, I was so upset. 𝗬𝗷𝗵𝗲𝗍, spear bottles, even amongst the rocks where the sea urchins and the different crabs and different things live, and there's trash. So it's very upsetting, but what you can do is to make a positive difference. Take a bag with you, clean up your area before. It'll take you 2 minutes. That's it. And then make sure you keep it clean and make sure you throw your trash out. So don't be like the irresponsible people. But anyway, so they are making headway. And I'll tell you, I'm very impressed with the recycling system. It was a full culture shock, full head-on culture shock, because I had to learn how to separate plastic and glass and organic material and non-recyclables and aluminum and all kind of things. And there's a different schedule. What you can do is ask for help. Ask for a schedule, post it on your refrigerator, and you can also buy different colored bags. You can buy these bins at a hardware store or just a regular store. They sell the different colored bins for paper and glass and plastic, all the different things. And get a schedule and know what goes out the night before. Don't wait till the morning of, because sometimes they come really early and then you miss it. And sometimes, like, paper is only picked up once a week or twice a week or whatever, or organic is twice a week and plastic is once. 𝗓𝗐𝗔𝗓𝗔 is once a week. And if you miss it, you're going to have to wait a while. So it's annoying to have these bags sitting around if you miss it. So do it the night before, but don't leave them on the ground. Tie them up, put them on a fence post or whatever because of animals. And we'll get to the animal issue in a little bit. But that's what you do. You can just, make plans, get colored bags and get a schedule and ask for help about when things are picked up when. And your neighbor will help. Anybody at a cafe, you can just ask what for your street, because each area in the town is different. So that's one area, and that's how we dealt with it. Now, the slow Italian bureaucracy that everybody talks about, I'm not going to dwell on this, but it's really a lot to get used to, 𝗓𝗷𝗵𝗲𝗍.
Yeah.
I am a type, I don't know if it's type A, but I had been a procrastinator early on in my life, but I'm in my 60s now, and I get everything done during the day. If I have a to-do list, I don't even write that much down anymore, but I just know what I have to do. If there's something to be done, it gets done so that I can have free time, so that I can have all of my responsibilities and things taken care of so that I can get on with my day. Some Italians are that way, some are not. Everybody has a different personality all over the world. But Italian bureaucracy, I mean, it is nuts. Talk about our friends doing renovations. They bought a house and they are doing renovations, and whatever they tell you, take it 4 times the time frame for it to be complete. If they give you a December time frame for it to be done, add 4 months to that because things will come up, delays, supplies, this happened, that happened, and take it easy, day by day, take it easy. So the whole mindset is different. So this rush American lifestyle is out the window. It's a totally different country.
Right.
It's a beautiful lifestyle. That's what attracts me to Sicily.
Yes.
You know, the long afternoons that everything is closed down. I had to get used to that. If I needed to run an errand or do a little shopping or stop by and get milk or whatever, things are closed. You have to get used to that. People take time.
Well, people working started around 8 o'clock, and when it comes 1 o'clock, everybody's closing.
Yeah.
You don't see much people around. Be home with the family, have a lunch,
right,
and enjoy the lunch,
right.
Enjoy the family at the table, and take about 3 hours nap.
Well, not 3 hours a nap, but 3 hours closing. 3 hours closing. There's a 3-hour window every day, every weekday. And some things close, like Lidl. This is one of the grocery stores we go to. I'm not sure if they close or not. I don't remember.
No, they're not closed. Some of the major store, they're not closing.
Okay, major chains stay open, but little grocery stores in the area where you live, where your home is,
right,
maybe shut down. So the way to combat that is to plan ahead, and especially with bureaucracy, know your comune, know your commune, know your municipal building, and when they're open, what they require. Do your research ahead so that you can have the paperwork and all of the things that you need to provide ahead of time. And then also, I recommend keeping receipts for anything you need to do, because you need to have proof of what you have paid and when it was paid. Right. And so that's a really good thing. And then get help. You're going to need some advice sometimes, and it doesn't hurt to ask somebody about a process or a business affair. You need to ask, because we don't know what we don't know. So don't be timid. Don't be shy. Just go ahead and ask for help. And then...
And definitely they're willing to help anybody.
Right.
Definitely.
Right. And then after that, I would say, plan ahead, know your municipal, save receipts, get advice and get help. And then the last thing is just learn to chill, learn to slow down. If you're not in retirement stage, I'm going to continue working from home. 𝗀𝗁 is retiring in a few weeks, and that's it. And he will have a slow-paced life forevermore. So you just have to get in the mindset and learn to breathe and slow down and say it's okay and be in the moment. Be in the moment. So, and then the last thing I would like to do is, let's see here. I wanted to pop this out. I didn't get the chat, but anyway, I wanted to cover the last thing, and that is a little bit of a negative, a little bit upsetting, but it is pets outside. Now, maybe some dogs are acclimated to the outdoors. That's fine. But you see a lot of dogs crying and cold outside, and it's not the same. It's a completely different culture, and they may or may not have a dog house outside. You may hear dogs whimpering. You may hear them crying. You may see dogs on the street looking for food or in trash bins trying to look for something to eat. It's a whole different mindset about pets and quote unquote abuse of animals. Now, I grew up with animals. 𝗀𝗁 didn't, right?
Right.
You didn't grow up with animals, but let me go to the main camera. So you didn't grow up with.
No, I did not grow up.
You never had a pet.
But I never had a problem with the animal.
No. Well, you never had a pet though. You never really learned to love a pet.
Yes.
And You know, we had a dog all the time growing up. And then when we lived in Florida and we had that little farm experience, we had a horse, we had sheep, we had chickens, we had we had a dog, we had cats, we had everything, and fresh eggs and a garden, and we did the farm life for a little while.
Yes.
And we had a good time. So we had outdoor cats. But they had a barn full of hay. They could burrow in, and Mittens especially, he was a good barn cat because he got all the little mice that were after the grain from the horse. Yes. And we had locked down tubs for the food. It wasn't like they were in the food, but just the things that dropped on the ground, they would scurry after. And so Mittens would get those mice, but he had a warm place. He was outdoors, but he would come in to eat and be loved on. We loved on him. And then, but yeah, you never grew up with a pet.
No.
And
I never did.
A lot of the dogs over there and cats, they have little outdoor houses, but some don't. A lot don't. They just have to huddle next to a cement building. And it can be upsetting for a foreigner. I mean, I'm an Italian citizen, but I'm still kind of like an expat because I was born and raised in the United States. So I'm always going to have that soft spot. Now you'll see people with their little baby pets, their little baby pets in the cart at the mall, going around in clothing.
You see quite a few.
Yeah, bow in the hair, those little tiny lap dogs, and they baby their pets. And those little dogs, those little, 100% purebred dogs, they get loved, and they are really popular over there. In the mall, we see a lot of dogs in their own little stroller. It's kind of funny.
Take them go shopping. So.
Yeah, they take them shopping. But then the bigger dogs that they use for protection and to alert if anybody comes onto the property, they just stay outdoors. Right. So it's something to get used to, and you have to be careful. That picture that I shared was actually from Facebook. I'm on a Sicily or an Italian group on Facebook, and somebody shared this picture that this was the dog, their neighbor's dog, and they have pets themselves, and they don't want to say anything for fear of retribution. Now, I don't know where they live. I didn't note where they lived. I think it was northern Italy. And Sicily is a lot warmer than northern Italy. So in the wintertime, the temperatures don't dip that far. Anyway, just a completely different thing. But what to do in that case is, I can't think of something to tell you to do, because this neighbor, this lady who posted this picture, didn't want to say anything because she didn't want anything to happen to her dogs. Now, I don't know how real that fear is. I really don't. It was kind of a negative thing to hear, but I mean, if that was her experience, so be it. I mean, it's not, we have to take off our rose-colored glasses. That other video I had about the 7 harsh truths.
Yes.
It's a beautiful island. It's a beautiful country, and Sicily is a beautiful region. And we can't wait to go back. We are going back next month.
Yes.
And you'll be done with work in a couple of weeks. So we're looking forward to it. But it's not perfect. And, when you go on vacation and experience the beautiful vistas and the beautiful dining and everything, the cultural experience and festivals and going out to, to eat and shopping, that's all fun. But when you're there to live daily life, day in and day out, there is some culture shocks. There are some things that you have to navigate through. And these tips hopefully were helpful to you. So let me check on the questions. Go ahead, 𝗓𝗓.
Well, definitely, no matter where you go in a different country, there is a good and bad, and just make the best out of it, and get to the culture and learn the culture and learn the people, and like I say, is a very friendly people, and love to help anybody. They have a question, they have a concern, definitely they're help.
They do. They really do. I'm looking at the questions now, and I have software that I was supposed to pull questions into, and I think I didn't do it early enough, so please forgive me for that. But Leticia, hello from Buenos Aires. Hello, good to see you here. And God's cats. Yeah, yes, somebody said God's cats. Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
They're all God's creatures. And
Right.
you know, the Bible even talks about Jesus coming on a white horse,
Yes.
right? So we know there's horses in heaven.
Yes.
Go figure, right?
Right.
So, and the Bible does talk
That's a
about...
good thing, too.
Yeah, I love that. And so, yeah, and we're supposed to be kind to animals. Now, I don't go overboard and, you know, all of that, but dress them in clothing and all that kind of stuff. They're not human, but we're supposed to be kind to animals. Anyway,
right.
Okay. Robert said, hello, friends. Good to see you. Thank you for joining us. And 𝗬𝗁cie says she's studying Italian for the B1 exam.
Very
wow,
nice.
that is really great. You know,
Yes.
I missed that. I didn't have to take a language test because 𝗓𝗁cie and I were married in 1981. And
Yes.
let's see, the law changed. I don't know when the law changed, in the 90s, I believe, about requiring a language test. And I bypassed that whole thing. So
That was easy for you.
it was easy for
Yeah.
me. But I would have passed if it was a test in Sicilian, but not in...
At the same time, you learned the Sicilian language
Yes.
pretty quick. You did it very well.
Thank you. Well, I guess so. I know I still make grammatical mistakes.
We
And
all do.
𝗬𝗁cie said, let's see, guys. Yeah, that's so sad. Texas has trash here as well. Don't mess with Texas or Sicily. Yeah, there's some areas where people are just irresponsible. They don't treasure they don't value the land, and it's really sad. But we can just do our part, be a good example, and then clean up where we can, wherever we're going to use the area, park or national park or whatever. If there's area and overflow, we can clean up the place we're at, and then that's it. I'm not going to, dwell on it. But
Right.
out of all of the culture shocks, the pets and the trash bother me. And no, I've gotten some negative comments, guys, and it kind of irks me, but I understand. People say, well, then just go back to where you came from if you don't like it. Well, it's not that I don't like it. These are challenges and things that I'm dealing with from my perspective as an American. And I'm going to share that. It's called freedom of speech.
Right.
So
And definitely trying to help somebody there from our side going to Sicily.
exactly.
I will say it's a help
Yeah.
what to expect.
Exactly, because
Yes.
people need to be able to gauge their expectations. And so providing all the great and wonderful things about Sicily is wonderful.
Right.
It is. But then giving them realistic things to expect is good as well. People appreciate it. So, okay, the next, let's see, 𝗬𝗁cie, aren't there rules for caring for pets? There are ordinances and things. And in fact, I think there's numbers to call for a barking dog if it's late and things of that sort.
Yeah.
And you can do that. You can definitely do that. And there are places to call. There is animal control. And they are doing a lot better. I know years ago when we lived in Sicily, the dogs and cats, the strays were just overrun all through the town. But
They come along pretty well. They're doing a lot better.
yes, animal control has found homes for them and shelters and all kinds of things. So they've come a long way. So they are making a lot of headway. Let's see, are there rules? Then English lessons. Thanks for this. Best of luck to both of you. Love from Ireland. Thank you so much. English lessons. So there's somebody that teaches English. That's wonderful.
Yes.
What about cats? Same thing. They have animal control. And there are numbers to call. If there's a stray and you notice a cat digging in garbage without a tag, without a collar on, and there aren't many animals with tags, with the shots and things there. I mean, that you don't see.
No,
you see them
you don't see them.
collars, but not many with, they've had their shots and this and that and chips and everything else. No, not much. Not many. Well, any other questions, guys? Because we're going to wrap it up. If not, let's see here.
Well, definitely it's a beautiful country and a lot of good food, great experience, and definitely enjoy a lot of the time with family.
Yes, absolutely.
That's pretty much the main focus, the family. Be close and united together and enjoy
Yes.
the view, the food, and everything else that goes along.
Lots of beautiful things about Sicily that I love, and
Yes.
it draws us there. And for you, you were born and raised there, so you
Yes.
are authentically Sicilian, and you have family there, and connections, and cousins, and nieces, and nephews, and schoolmates.
Right, and I miss a lot of the tradition as well. Every holiday they come up with their own pastry and the cookie and the special stuff that they do. It's unbelievable. And think about it, as a little boy growing up, you know, those people work in the bakery, they don't go to college, high school diploma so much, but the talent, it's unbelievable. What they can do.
That's amazing. Are you talking about cannoli?
Cannoli.
𝗓𝗁𝗍𝗓?
Yeah, 𝗓𝗁𝗍𝗓, 𝗓𝗁𝗍𝗓.
They're the ones with the cream in the middle?
With the cream in it, yeah.
𝗬𝗁𝗍𝗓 is my
𝗬𝗁𝗍𝗓,
favorite.
yes.
Oh my goodness, 𝗬𝗁𝗍𝗓. Well, I'm diabetic, so I don't eat those anymore.
Arancini.
Arancini, but that's savory.
Pane panelle.
Pane panelle, sì, mia, che buono. Anyway,
Yes.
well, you are blessed because we have a daughter-in-law that years ago got a recipe, and it's very labor-intensive, and she learned how to make 𝗬𝗁𝗍𝗓 at Christmas time and surprise Croce with a big tin of homemade Sicilian 𝗬𝗁𝗍𝗓
That
at
was
Christmas.
a big surprise.
Yes.
They are delicious.
She did so well, Ashley.
Very good job.
You are such a blessing.
Yes.
Now, I don't know if she has our grandson, and she's real busy, so I don't know if she has time this year, but man, those are good. And then the next year, I think she made the smaller ones. Like, she made the bigger ones, the classic.
Yes.
And then she made the more bite size, which they ended up being really good, because you might not, like, a whole one is like a meal. You have that, a cup of coffee.
Fill you up.
Yeah. Okay, I got a couple more questions. Let's see. Crazy question. I just joined seeing many properties for sale in Carini. Any explanation why? Hi, Marie. Well, I don't know about why there's an implosion of properties for sale. I know we've checked casa.it, Immobiliare, Idealista, and what's the other one? Subito. And they always have properties, long-term and short-term, transitorio. And also, I don't know why there's more for sale. I have no idea, but I've heard the United States, we're about to have a housing boom.
Yeah,
but
it's coming up.
Yes, it is. I don't know. Let's see. And that combination of gelato inside a croissant, I don't remember. Oh, brioche.
A brioche. That's a brioche.
Yeah.
Make a meal out of it.
You can make a meal out of it. I know last time we lived with your mom, when your father died, we went to take care of your mom and live with your mom. We would have a big Sunday lunch with all the different courses and then clean up, have a rest, and later on that evening, we would go down the Bayou de Carini. Go for a ride down to the Bayou.
Yes.
And walk that promenade. Well, it's not really a promenade. Just walk along the ocean, walk along the sea, that beautiful sidewalk. And then we would go to the gelateria.
Yes. And
you would get, you and your mom would get a brioche, which is a beautiful sweet roll. And they just pack in a couple of scoops of gelato, whatever topping you want. And they can put whipped cream or toppings on it if you so choose. But that was a meal. That's why he says make a meal out of it.
Yes.
For sure. Absolutely. Oh my goodness. Absolutely. So guys, if that is everything, I don't think there are any other questions. I appreciate y'all coming. And definitely. We hope you have a wonderful Christmas. If we don't talk to you before then, if you have any questions, ask in the chat, please, and I will follow up after the live stream ends. But we hope a few of these tips were helpful. Let us know what your plans are when you go to Sicily, when you're planning to go to Italy next. And if we don't see you until Christmas or talk with you, have a wonderful holiday, Merry Christmas, and Buon Natale.
Buon Natale and arrivederci.
Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.